Welcome back to the Midwest. Welcome back to Illinois. Welcome back to the Chicagoland area. Welcome back to McHenry. Welcome back to Stickney Run Conservation Area. And welcome back to the Mosgrove Cemetery. Yep, that's right. We are returning to a McHenry County Conservation Area. Pretty rare for us to do that. We were last here in summer 2023, a time when I was having some issues with the lenses on my Samsung Galaxy S10 shortly before we got our current phone, the Samsung Galaxy S23. And this is definitely the type of place that I don't normally do a return visit to. There's not anything wrong with this place. This is actually the closest McHenry County Conservation Area to my house, just a few minutes down the road. But there's not a huge amount of trails. I covered it all in the last video, so why would I do a return visit? Well, there's something very special about that video that I did in 2023, and it's not necessarily the views, although currently right now it's sitting at 108 views, which is not bad. Any nature vlog that I do that gets over 100 views is considered a win to me, but it's actually the comments. Times have definitely changed as I began to develop a squad in the past few years, but these nature videos, local nature videos, typically get under 100 views and no comments. Now, over the past few years, when I've been lucky enough to develop a few dedicated squad members, almost every video that I put out will get at least 2 or 3 comments from either a squad member or a super squad member. I can pretty much count on that. But videos like this, especially in earlier days of my channel, never got comments and didn't usually get unique viewers. That is, the one-offs, the one-time commenters, and typically don't see from them ever again. But I had 4 unique commenters on that video, and that is unheard of for any McHenry County or Lake County nature videos that I do. And they were all pretty unique and informative in their own ways. A recent comment from one day ago, from a video I released in 2023, from Aprili5106, who was the inspiration for me to come back here today on this beautiful day out. We'll get to that in a moment. Who mentioned about a hidden waterfall. Now, I did traverse all these trails and I didn't see a hidden waterfall, and she didn't give me a ton of details there, but I'm gonna try and find it. She was telling me how she grew up in the area and did fishing around here, and that supposedly somewhere there's a hidden waterfall. Of course, that's gonna catch my interest. There was someone 2 years ago that told me how they take care of this property, including the cemetery, mowing the area, stuff like that. I had someone tell me how McHenry is the home of Iana Rhodes. Now, I did look it up at the time, and I don't remember who it is still. But then they went on about the founding fathers of McHenry. So I was thinking maybe this had something to do with the Mosgroves. Maybe they were the founding fathers of McHenry. I don't know who the founding fathers of McHenry are, but I looked it up on the McHenry County Conservation page before coming here today, and they said that the Mosgroves were prevalent farmers in the area. And that's about all the information they can give. So they didn't found McHenry, it doesn't sound like, but they're important farmers from back in the day, the Mosgroves. And then there was someone who just mentioned that it used to be pretty. I'm assuming the cemetery. And then in one of the comments, there was a reply saying that the area had been cleaned up since. If you remember from that video in 2023, and probably not too many of you saw that, I will link it in the description below. The trails were well mowed, but the grass around the cemetery was really, really high. Now, I thought it was kind of a cool look, but as they informed me, it had been trimmed, and I saw a very recent Google photo before coming here today that showed it was all mowed. So that also caught my interest. I wanted to kind of see how things had changed. And that may not seem like much, vote for a McHenry County Conservation Area or a Lake County Forest Preserve video, those type of comments is very, very rare. That's more like something I would get on a mall video, you know? And the Mosgrove Cemetery is definitely cleaned up. Yeah, that looks quite a bit different. I figured this was a good time to come in early spring before the grass started to go crazy. Well, if it is my commenter who is still cleaning up the cemetery and the property, hey, you did a wonderful job. So this is what I assume to be a private family cemetery here on the McHenry County Conservation property. Not sure all that works out. But these are very old gravestone markers, as you can tell. Now, what appeared to be a very old Google photo had a sign right along the roadway that said Mosgrove Cemetery, but it appeared to me anyway to be an old Google photo. And yeah, I don't see anything like that now. Yeah, there's just one little sign here saying this is the boundary of the McHenry County Conservation District. We see that a lot in our adventures. Alright, so that was one of the main things we wanted to do today, was to see how the cemetery looked, and it looks nice. Definitely well taken care of. Like I said, I had no problem with the way it looked before. I thought it looked kind of cool. But yeah, it looks very good. Now we're going to see if we can run across some hidden waterfall. I don't know. It's still continuing to be very dry out here, not much water, so I'm not expecting to see much flowing water. There is a big little pond over here, and I will show you guys that again. And we're also kind of going to why I had such an abrupt ending to the last video. So, quick little summary. Yes, if you saw the last set of videos, I don't even know at this time because I haven't edited them yet how many it's going to be. But if you've seen the last number of videos, yes, went to New York City for my daughter's band concert, and we are back. The one thing I can tell you is the last video did abruptly end at our last Ohio Turnpike service plaza of the trip, and I want to kind of explain to you why. Not that there is ever a bad reason to end a video at an Ohio Turnpike service plaza, but for as such a big trip as it was, I didn't feel like I had a proper ending to it, a proper outro. And I'm going to try to sort of rectify that today while we're walking the trails. So as I'm pretty sure I mentioned in the last video, there were storms coming. Storms were definitely coming. Storms were definitely going to hit us. They're talking about 70-mile-an-hour winds, small chance of tornadoes, rain obviously, and hail. That was not something I wanted to get stuck on in the middle of the open Indiana toll road with the trucks, whether it was just the wind, tornadoes, hail, etc. So after we left the last Ohio Turnpike, which was the furthest west point, we stopped at the Indiana-Ohio border, got gas, and then cooked it. I only stopped at one Indiana toll road service plaza, which is pretty good for me. And that was the third one if you're coming from the west, or the second one if you're coming from the east. And like I mentioned now in a few videos I've been covering the Indiana toll road service plazas, they redid them, so 2 are full service and 2 are basically just gas stations. And it was just the gas station. So it was a quick bathroom stop. Not really much to film in there anyways. It basically is just a little 7-Eleven convenience store. And we continued to push along. At this point, it was starting to look like that we would get closer to the Chicagoland area when the storms would hit. Either way, I don't want to be in storms, but I'd rather not be in open lands. I'd rather be closer to city stuff if some storms hit. So I got close to the interchange where 80, 90, 94, all that kind of comes together over in Lake Station, Indiana. Did one more gas fill up there, and then all the chaos started after that. First thing we got hit with was huge traffic jams. Now 80, 94 through there, you know, that little stretch of road through Gary is usually a mess anyway. There was also an auto accident somewhere along that route, so I used Google Maps to detour me around that through all some kind of crazy-ish areas of Gary. It went fine though. We got around that, but then eventually got back to 80, 94, and it was still kind of a mess. And then once we got back onto 80, 94, the storms officially hit. And we got hit with a little supercell, which was hail. Oh, there was hail. Everything's fine on the car, thankfully. It wasn't huge, but we definitely got hit with a very quick little supercell, moved through super fast, 70 miles an hour the storm moved through, what the weather folks said on Facebook. We did that, and then it was pretty much traffic for a good portion from there. We ended up stopping at the Chicago Southland Lincoln Oasis, because at that point we were in the car for like, oh god, I don't know how long, probably almost an hour, detouring around Gary and then dealing with traffic. Stopped there. Traffic was still a mess. The rain did clear up a little bit, and then finally the traffic started to settle a little bit once we separated on 294 from 80 and then started to head north. But of course from there, the rain, we had rain, more rain, pretty much all the way home, but nothing crazy. We did hit one little supercell again, no hail, but we did hit a little supercell with heavy rain somewhere in the Schaumburg area. Yeah, so that final little stretch through Indiana and Illinois was not really a thing I wanted to vlog in. I was pretty tired with the driving at that point. That second half from Pennsylvania to Illinois was our longer drive there and back. And that's why we just kind of ended at the Ohio Turnpike. And it's spring. We're officially in spring now, and it's 70 degrees. It is absolutely amazing today. I got my New York shirt on. Yeah, I bought one New York shirt during the trip, and I bought one Ohio shirt, and I got a whole bunch of magnets. That was not a cheap trip, so I didn't want to go crazy. I'm pretty happy with what I got. I also got a cute little statue of Liberty Stuffy, which I will feature on the channel at some point. But she is very, very cute. I call her Joy because she kind of reminds me of Joy from Inside Out. I actually feature her in one of the videos, so you can see her there. And here is the big pond. And I've showed you guys this before. When we came here in summer 2023, it was very, very hot out. I don't even remember now why I chose to go out that day. I remember I had to stay local, but maybe I just wanted to get out of the house or something, I don't know. But yeah, that's normally not the type of weather I do outdoor vlogs in, right in the middle of summer. Now, as far as the waterfall goes, they may be talking about this little thing over here. I do remember seeing this. But they were kind of talking about how all these little rivers and stuff flow into the Fox River. And somewhere there is a waterfall. We can walk down there. Some of this area is fenced off, but there are a couple little paths here. Just kind of steep. It kind of looks like a waterfall. Not sure if that's what they were talking about. Doesn't look too accessible from this point forward. It's pretty nice through here. I'm glad I'm not going through here in the summer. The bugs would be eating me up even worse than they were that day. Another reason why I don't typically do nature vlogs in the middle of summer. I've been kind of realizing that I'm going to eventually have to start doing repeat vlogs as I've covered so much of this area already. It's getting harder to find new places to go to without traveling farther distances. Not that I mind doing that, but when I do need to kind of stick local, kind of exhausted most of my options at this point. Alright, continuing on to the loop trail. It is 70 degrees out. It's springtime. It is amazing right now. And it is going to rain later tonight. And then pretty much rain through the most of the rest of the week. And the temperatures are expected to drop. 30s, 40s, etc. So this definitely has full spring vibes to it, but it is technically spring now. Yeah, so this was the day to get out this week. Fortunately, I didn't have time to travel. I had to stick local for a couple things. Also, was getting some auto work done. So that took up a portion of my morning. I'm glad my lens is a lot better on this camera for today's vlog. Should have gotten that fixed sooner, but I was pretty stubborn. I was trying to make it last as long as I could before I made the purchase, but obviously we did eventually get the S23, and it's been really good since. It has a thing like most of my Samsung phones have, where it can get pretty toasty pretty quickly doing video, and it runs through the battery pretty quickly. Obviously I have a little portable battery thing which helps with that anyway, but yeah, the phone can get toasty. But I've had that with every sandstone that I've had so far. Didn't have a lot of time today, but there was no way I was gonna miss out on this opportunity to go walking. And I've been wanting to come back here because of all the comments I got on that previous video here. Definitely seen a few people out on the trail today here. And there are a few bugs trying to get me still. At this point, I am going to assume that that was the waterfall, but if we see any sort of side trail or something that we can walk through, I'll check that out too. They also mentioned in their comments something about going to the subdivision, and I know what they're talking about. Where all this water flows to the Fox River, it does go through a little subdivision, I think is unincorporated McHenry, closer to the Fox River. And they said I could see something over there, so I might drive through there real quick, see if I notice anything. We're actually really close to the McHenry Dam, which we have thought. When I filmed that video at the McHenry Dam, we had just finalized our move to McHenry, but we had not officially moved there yet. So I did that video, and technically we were residents of McHenry, but I had not made the official announcement to that point. So little secret Easter egg thing for you there. There is a little path over here, but as you can see, for whatever reason, they don't want folks walking there, which is fine with me. I'm sure they have their reasons. Don't really want to get too off the designated paths. Now, if I do eventually learn of some secret waterfall similar to like South Elgin, when we did that video, I can always explore it more and document another video. Not a big deal. It's really not even much water on this part. But definitely look for me to start covering some more McHenry County conservation areas. Ones that I've covered and are still some in McHenry County and some in Lake County that I have not documented yet in the history of the channel. Alright, we have completed the loop. We've done a decent amount over the recent years covering Kane County, but still a lot more for us to cover there. Well, this is not the designated waterfall. I hope she can give me further directions how to get there. And that is going to wrap it up for this video. I will link my previous visit here in 2023 in the description below. Thank you everyone for the support. Appreciate you all. If you watched all my New York / New Jersey / Pennsylvania / Ohio / Indiana / Illinois videos. I had a fun time making them. Obviously, I haven't edited them yet, so we'll see how they'll turn out. Hopefully you enjoy it. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you for watching. Now we're on State Park Road, and this will take us into the little subdivision area. The McHenry Dam, well, not the main entrance. The main entrance is on the other side of the river, but there's some sort of little area that you can get to it here as well. I don't think this is the public entrance. I could be wrong. Oh, it's for the lock and dam. Okay. So, like, all the stuff that sort of makes it function or whatever, you access it from here. But that's not like the visitor entrance. That's on the other side of the river. Alright, so this is the subdivision. Now, there's no parking sign, but he could have been talking about a waterfall over here as well. There's someone taking pictures here. I don't know what, but... Okay, well, that kind of looks like a waterfall. Oh my goodness, wow, look at all the swans or whatever it is over there. That's crazy. So that may have been the waterfall they're referring to. Oh yeah, he has to be taking a picture of all those swans. Wow, that is crazy. Look at all that over there. There's like a little bit of a waterfall in between those two ponds. Unfortunately, you can't park over here, or it'd be the good spot to park. And there's those guys. The turkeys? Turkeys, it's past Thanksgiving. Not that I don't enjoy a good turkey any time of the year.